got this wheel off. Cool little tag in there. Have no idea what it says, what it's about, but I love seeing all these old original tags, because in reality these wheels probably haven't even been on this off this truck. So a little better access. You can see some of the inside of here, some undercoating kind of peeling off, but the underside of this is just in such good shape. Like these on my short bed were gone, 100% gone. Like just scraps left in there. So I think these are the original shocks in there. I like the little spirals. But I think one shock might have got replaced up front, but I'm sure those are gone. They probably don't work at all. But that's what it looks like if you've never seen the inside of one of these. Pretty simple. The wood bed ones actually have access so you can get in there and tighten the bolts. So I think that's the big issue on trying to switch this over to a wood bed floor. It's kind of a pain, I guess. But I like how the plastic's still on this emergency brake cable setup that you can see. Still has the original looking lock ring springs on there. So pretty cool. Now I'm gonna try to break this drum loose. Like I said, these get pretty stuck on there. I'm gonna hit it with a hammer a couple times to try to pull on it. Alright, if you guys are wondering how drum brakes are, when they're stuck, they're stuck. So I think the pads are ripping apart off the back. Just whatever. I don't really care, but it's coming out. I need it off. I need the brakes to work. So prying off the stickers coming off. Yay. So here's a workout. Hammering this thing off. You don't have much of a lift to get to. Hopefully I don't chew it up too much, but yay, trucks. Alright, they're off. This is your wheel cylinder in here. So I need to get everything off. Pads are there, but I don't know. I don't feel like it's probably worth it. I'd rather clean up these drums, these edges, throw some new pads on. It just sucks, 'cause I know these pads aren't super worn out, but I know nothing else is gonna move, so I'm gonna take everything off and clean it all up. I know these seem really complicated, but they're actually not that bad to work on. Take your time. So yay. So I'm gonna start pulling all these springs off. Try to remember how everything's set up. Trying to think. I think you have to like push these in and turn them. It's been a minute since I worked on these, but it'll come back to me. But like I said, it's nothing too crazy. For any of you guys working on old trucks or old cars or new cars, brakes should be the most important thing, I feel like. The engine doesn't matter if you can't stop. So here's some of the brake springs. Drum brakes are not the worst, for sure. Maybe the worst. But they're kind of, it's a lot of juggling pieces around to try to get it all to sit in place when you're putting your pins in. So it's kind of a pain. This side's in. I don't know. It's one of those systems you just kind of like gotta work on it. Eventually, everything just pops in real quick. But at first, you're just kind of frustrated the whole time. So everything seems to be moving okay. I was a little afraid of stuck hinges and pieces and stuff like that, but seems okay. New wheel cylinder, new pads. So, just working on it.
Alright. Alright, we're back. I've been gone. I had to go drive to California. I'm back. It's fun out there. It's nice and warm. It's cold. I'm back. It's really cold out. So I need to paint some stuff before, or find a garage or something, because it's too cold to paint. Working on brakes. Here's some springs. Here's my wheel cylinder. New brake pads. I'm gonna try to get the passenger side installed today. I got a couple things I need to. I'm gonna call about this. I'm gonna call and see if LMC has the metal for up there. In case you're wondering, the gas tank is. Whew, it smells like death in here. I've been gone for a few days, so just leaking gas in here. I need the sending unit for in here. If LMC has this metal piece, I might drive up to Kansas City and pick it up. But they didn't have it last time I went up there, even though they told me they did. So I don't really want to make this piece. I could, for sure. I don't know. I feel like the time I'd save might be worth it. Because I'd like to just use half on this truck and then save the other half and then maybe use it on the short bed. Because I know the short bed's got some issues up there too. But I don't know how bad they are yet. But this looks pretty rough all the way out to about here. I'll probably replace, maybe actually out to here and then over to the window. So I just want to make sure everything's sealed up okay. We'll see. I don't know. I like to get that window done soon, especially it's getting cold. It's getting cold. Today's supposed to be the warmest day, so I'm gonna try to knock some things out. These brakes, I like to get all the brakes done, so I might have to run to the store and grab. Wheel cylinders for the front, brake pads for the front. I like to get all my lines done, get my fluid in there, bleed the brakes. But that fuel sending unit is kind of holding me up to get the engine running. I also need the speaker. I need the speaker that fits up in your dash. Before I put the radio in, I feel like it'd be easier to mount that. I don't totally know, but I think you have to mount the speaker first. Gives me more access in there. So the speaker mounts. Speaker mounts up in here, and then your radio covers all that. So if you don't mount that first, it's probably a pain. I also need to get all these hoses for my defrost, and I'm probably going to take all these heater control lines off because they're not moving, and they're kind of starting to move, but I might run some oil through all those and try to get all those moving because I don't want to break that lever or anything like that. But I also have the cardboard pad that goes, or the cardboard liner that goes in there. But this is a truck. I like to get the brakes done. My list is really short right now, to tell you the truth. Besides, this is the biggest holdback for sure. I also need to take that steering wheel off to fix that turn signal that I broke. Real happy I broke that. But I also need to get that piece from LMC. So maybe I'll run up there this week if they have the headliner. If not, I'll just order it and wait a couple days. But I really wish I could paint that in the next couple days. So hopefully get these brakes bled. So work on those. Break that wheel loose. We'll see. I also wish I had the right mirrors. So I also need to work on this exhaust. Like I said, none of this is crazy. Most of the hard stuff is done, I feel like. Besides that, the windshield, I just have a feeling it's going to be horrible. I need to get that back glass rubber too. I was going to kind of just keep this rubber in, but it's leaking. I saw it was leaking some water the other day, so all the other weather stripping's been messed with, so I might as well work on this too. I also need to figure out how I need to cut a little slit in here to let this rubber move around. I don't like this giant gap, but we'll see. Got to figure that out a little bit. Hopefully it stays warm for a little bit. Alright, back. Got, I don't know the last I filmed, but cleaned up in here a little bit. Dirt everywhere. I really like this Delco Pleasurizer. It's probably the coolest shock name I've ever heard. This is my dust cap. Looks like it's got the original grease in there. Just hanging on. To get these drums, or the drum off, you had to pull the nut off, which is good. I want to throw some grease in there, check it out anyway. I'm sure it's good. I'm actually not concerned with it at all. But gotta pull it off, check out the brake shoes. It turns. I just got a rough spot right there, which is probably just crap from the years sitting in there. So pull that off. You can see all the clumps of mud everywhere. It is muddy in there. But I cleaned up some of these grease fittings, so I can grease those now. I kind of been putting those off because I couldn't get to them before. They're covered in mud. So, alright. Got the drum off. It kind of sucks because you have to pull that off and then clean all that. So I got to clean that shaft, clean all that grease off. Grease up that where the bearing sits. I'm going to replace this wheel cylinder. If you didn't know, this thing opens up and pushes your pads out. I also need to go get some springs. I had some springs I think my brother left for me or something. He had a 66. Springs were the same, so pull all this off. I know it looks a little crazy in there, but it's actually not that bad. It's just kind of a pain. These are kind of a pain, and then pulling these springs and not busting your knuckles is pretty much impossible, but whatever. So the pads don't look horrible. I will tell you that they have grooves in them, and there's tons of grooves in the drum, which are kind of weird, but they're so deep, and the truck is low miles, so I don't really, not totally sure why they're so grooved. Maybe it came like that. It seems a little weird, because now it's like these pads are going to have to kind of wear in. But whatever. So, take this off. I got to run to the store, get wheel cylinders, pads, springs. Get these front ones on. So, that's what it looks like. Alright, so this wheel cylinder, I looked it up. It seems like it's attached with this nut, which is a little weird because the other ones are attached with two nuts in the back. But I know it's a different design. It's a little weird up front, but I'm gonna try to pull that off. Hopefully it turns. It's like a little washer that they must bend over to help it not back off. So I'm gonna try to break it loose. Alright, working on the truck. I tried to bleed the brakes. I put the brakes on up front, shoes and wheel cylinders and things. I was trying to mess with the heater. There's kind of like I call them brake cables, but there's a cable back here that sits in. Well, I couldn't get the piece off, and I ended up breaking. Sorry, I gotta set this down. I ended up breaking this piece off the end, so I drilled a hole in there. I think I can adjust the cable. It sits in here. I can just put it in a little farther to make up that gap. Hopefully it doesn't mess with it too much. It'll still move. So I'm gonna try to reinstall that. I really didn't want to take this pin out and try to find this lever, and that sounded like a pain, so I was trying to avoid that. Try to get all these brake lines moving. I needed to get them loose so that I could raise them up, put some oil in there. Maybe the oil will run down to the bottom. Hopefully that's why it's not moving. Hopefully it's not just my house is in there, because if you look under the truck today, the big old nest down there, and that's all mud from the front cross member. But I'm sure 30 years of sitting there, everything's mice got in everywhere, I'm sure, but not horrible. They didn't eat all the wires, so that's good. So I'm gonna try to get this back on today. Try to get those cables moving and see what's going on. I'm trying not to take that heater core all apart. I will if I need to, whatever, it's part of the deal, but I'm trying to avoid it. Well, that was a huge pain. This is what's living inside my heater box. That was horrible to get off. Just wondering. There's a stupid bolt down here that doesn't want to ever come off. It doesn't even have a head on it. Look like that. I grinded, cut, and oh, dude, that's horrible. There's still something holding it on in there, so I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do to get it out. But oh, my voice is going out. I think I'm so mad at it right now. But that really sucked. So this is loose now, but I'm still not loose. I started to pull this off. I'm trying not to. Maybe I can work that out now.